JavaScript tutorials. In this week's video, we will start off with alert box and if-else statements. We'll move on to DOM elements and the function .getElementById, and finally we'll end with functions. So it's so great to have you back with us this week. This first video, we're going to be working on two pretty easy concepts, the alert box and also if-else statements. So let's jump right in. The alert function, guys, is actually not hard at all. It's one line of code, one easy function, nothing really hard about it. I just thought it's pretty fun to work around with because it's like a little pop-up on your page, and I always think it's pretty fun to make things happen, right? So let's go over here, repl.it repl it, create our new REPL, choose HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and let's go. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our script.js. This is our external JavaScript sheet, and I'm going to work on this one for this video. The first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to use the function. Right, guys, alert really is just alert with parentheses behind it, and whatever message that you want to pop up is going to go in the parentheses in quotation marks. So we're going to say alert. Now, what do I want people to see if this pops up on their screen? Alert, buy me lots of food and dessert. Yep, I want lots of food and dessert, like demanding it. Buy me lots of food and dessert, right? So now let's run our code and let's see what happens. We run our code and we get, look at that, there's a pop-up on our page that says, buy me lots of food and dessert. And guess who told that pop-up to come? Me. So what should you do? Buy me lots of food and dessert, right? Okay, so this stuff at the top is kind of sketchy looking, looks like a virus, but I promise it's not, guys. What it actually is it's just because we're running this from a browser, so there's a lot of behind the scenes going on. If this was your actual program, it would be really clean and it would just be like, blah, 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 program says, buy me lots of food and dessert. But for now, we see that we successfully made a pop-up. And I think that was pretty easy, right? One line of code, one word with one set of parentheses and some more words for the message. Again, if you did more than one alert, they would not line up in a row on your screen. That's not what happened. You could say, alert, buy me lots of food and ice cream. I love to eat food. And alert, let's see. My favorite is chocolate ice cream mochi. I'm pretty sure most of you guys have not heard of that before. Okay, so now let's run our computer, run our code and see what happens. So, no, there's not 3 alert boxes lined up on the page. There is one though, and it's the first one, and it says, buy me lots of food and dessert. We say, okay. Now another one pops up. I love to eat food. Got it, you like to eat food. Okay, and last one pops up. My favorite is chocolate ice cream mochi. Okay. So let's just see what happens there. Based on the chronological order of how you wrote your code, these alerts pop up one by one by one, okay? So that is how this alert box works. Again, pretty simple, but pretty fun to work with. Let's move on to our next topic. Our next topic is if-else statements. So if you've worked with any other language before, you'll know that these are used quite often. Again, same idea, different syntax, and let's jump right in. So if-else statements, let's take a look at this picture over here, is exactly how this works. You have if and else and your condition. You always have to have a condition. In this video, we'll be working with these mathematical conditions, and after that, you'll have curly braces sets. And so in the if block, you would say block of code to be executed if the condition is true. Else, block of code to be executed if the condition is false. That might not make quite as much sense, but let's go ahead and try it out, and hopefully it'll make a lot more sense. In order for us not to get 3 alerts every single time we want to run our code, I'm going to comment all of these out line by line. I should have used the multi-line comment. Whoopsies, my bad. But let's go ahead. First thing that we need to do is, in order to have a mathematical statement or mathematical condition, we have to have some variables. So var Sunny num is equal to 9873. I have a big number, okay? So var your num is equal to 2. You guys have a smaller number, right? Okay, so now we have two numbers, and there are so many things we could do with this. We could compare it, we could see if they're equal, all things like that. So let's go ahead and write our first if-else statement. If. Now this is just one keyword, if, and then remember our condition needs to go in parentheses, right? So we put parentheses, we say if sunny num is less than, or we can use greater than first, is less than your num. And then what comes next, guys? We need to put the next part in curly braces, right? And remember, so what this first set of curly braces is like if sunny num is greater than your num is true. So this is what your code should do if it is true. You would say console, oh, I don't need so many extra spaces, console.log, yes, Sunny's number is greater than your number. All right, so now you would also have to say else. So else, and what do you do for else? You would say if Sunny num is greater than your num is false. So this is what you should do if this is not correct. You would say console.log, no, Sunny's number is not greater than your number. All right, now let's run our code and let's see what we think is going to happen. We run our code and we get in the console here, we see, yes, Sunny's number is greater than your number. And why? Because 9,873 is greater than 2, then we know that this condition is true, the condition has been met, then we need to go run the code over here. If I were to switch this around and say if Sunny num is less than your num, then we would run our code and we get no, Sunny's number is not greater than your number because 9,873 is less than 2 is incorrect. So then it would go ahead and run else. Another example that we could do, var Sunny, we can just say var Sunny, var you, we can change this up a little bit. I can go ahead and comment this out for now. Var Sunny, var you. Okay, so let's say that Sunny eats 9,873 meatballs. Yikes, that's a lot of meatballs, guys. And you guys eat 2 meatballs. Poor you. You only get 2 meatballs. I have 9,873. I might be willing to share a couple with you. I don't know. Okay, so let's write another if-else statement. You can say if Sunny num, Sunny is just Sunny now because the variable just has Sunny. If Sunny is equal to you, so if the number of meatballs that Sunny eats is equal to you, then what do? We say console.log, Sunny eats the same number of meatballs. I'm thinking of dumplings, of meatballs as you. Else, we would have to say console.log, Sunny does not eat the same number of meatballs as you. All right, so hopefully this is starting to make more sense. We say if this condition, if Sunny is equal to you, which in this case 9,873 is nowhere near 2, then we know that when we run our code, we get Sunny does not eat the same number of meatballs as you. Now, if I were to change this both to 40, yikes, I still think 40 is a lot more meatballs, but I still think it's a lot better than 9,873. We run our code and we get Sunny eats the same number of meatballs as you, because now this condition has been satisfied, so it will run this code over here. So that was 2 examples of our if-else statements. Hopefully it made more sense. That is our first video for this week. We learned about alert box and if-else statements. So we will see you in the next one for DOM elements in our .getElementById video. Bye, guys.